trading.
I think this is really important. So what does it mean for a trader to be data oriented? What does that involve and how should people go about it?
Great question. So when I've spoken to people at expos and I've been to shows, I'll often ask them the question. I'll say, so they'll say to me, well, how do I get more profitable? What's the best strategy? What's the best approach? And I'll say, well, what are you currently doing? And they'll often tell me the technical bits that they're doing. So they'll say, oh, I trade, fib retracements. I do this, or I this crossover with this. And I'm like, okay, how's that working out for you? And they sort of, yeah, and I say, okay, so what have your performance been for the last 3 months? About 3% return. And I'm like, okay, so cross-reference that to the same 3 months last year. And then they go blank. Or the previous 3 months to that, and they go blank. So for me, it's data is number one is a state of mind. So it's as a trader, I look at it that I'm trying to improve my process because I can't control the result. So what can I do? Well, I can follow my process and I can track how well that works. And obviously, when you trade, there's a percentage of what you do that is discretionary, and then there's the strategy bit that you can track. So the first question I want to know when I'm working with a trader is, are you helping or hindering your strategy? By you trading your strategy, are you able to do better than the blanket mechanical result that you would have over 6 months? So if you took every setup for 6 months, what would the result be? And then are you doing better than that, or are you underperforming the strategy or not? So number one, I think it's a state of mind. And then two, data allows you to be data oriented. So classic example, you've probably been there, where you're in a trade, you're looking for a target at a level, it's getting there, it gets close, it pulls away, and then comes back, hits the level, and then it goes flying past the level, and you think, should have stayed in. It's a classic emotion that you have. So I encourage my traders to think, well, you should be looking at that trade and recording the maximum exit on it. You should be knowing how many of your winning trades go into a drawdown before they hit target. So essentially what you're doing in those two scenarios is becoming more process orientated and more data orientated. And then you can do simple things. So I'll say to a trader, how many of your winning trades go into a losing position before they hit target? Most traders don't know the answer. But if I know that 78% of all the winning trades I take go into drawdown, then my mind is expecting a drawdown on that trade rather than sitting there thinking, I hope it's going to win. So the link between data and mindset, I think traders underestimate that. So the more data that you can have that you understand, it's no point collecting data for the sake of it, but the more relevant data that you create, the more it helps your mindset. Another example would be traders hit a losing run, 6 losing trades on the trot, or they hit a winning run, 5 losing trades on the trot. As I said earlier, they're the times when traders are more likely to break their rules or change what they're doing. But if they can reference back and say, this 4 or 5 trade losing run happened 6 times over the last 8 years, it's not that it's guaranteed that the results going forward will be the same as what they are in the past. But what it does is it allows the trader to go, okay, what's happening now is not out of the ordinary, because traders tend to have recency bias. They tend to focus more on what has happened recently rather than think about what's happened over the last 5 years. So it helps you be more relaxed. Well, it helps me be more relaxed. And I've never worked with a trader that has been worse off for having more data. Some traders, they don't go, oh, I'm so worse off because I've got 5 years worth of data live or back tested. They always feel better about it. And I think the only caveat is that you don't become rigidly attached to it. So what's happened in the last 3 months is not necessarily going to, as not going to happen in the next 3 months. But in the same breath, you can't use that as an excuse to not collect data. I hear that. They go, well, what's the point in testing? Because it's not going to be the same going forward. But having a frame of reference is hugely important. You do it in business. You do it with your accounts. You do it with your figures. You do it with your sales results. So why would you not do it with your trading?
Yeah. I think you realize the importance of data once you have it. Like before you have data, you don't care much about it. You say, "Oh, it's just data, whatever." But when you have it and you realize what you can do with it, then that's where it gets powerful. So that's definitely good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like collecting it, so I'm the first to put my hand up and go, I'll be behind with my spreadsheet. I'll you know I but once I've got it, I always remind myself once I've got it and it's up to date, then I've got more power.